Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and this is our WWE show for the week. It's a packed show, so let's jump right into it. First up, the so-so segments. Not bad, not good, just there. Ryback versus Goldust and Sin Cara. I'm kind of intrigued with what they're doing with the Goldust Cody Rhodes split. I don't know. I never seen Goldust and Sin Cara being able to win this match, which they never did. I just didn't like it, to be honest with you. I mean, it was okay. I like Ryback as a team. I think they're improving more and more every week. Um, just, just a kind of dull lull in the action, in my opinion. Coming from that, we're going to go right into our bad section. This stuff I just didn't like. First up, we had Damien Sandow, aka Lance Stevenson, trolling the Indianapolis crowd. Here's the thing I don't get, right? Doing something like this at a house show, great. Doing something like this when it's a national story, I understand Lance Stevenson and the whole thing with blowing in LeBron's ear and all that kind of shit that he was doing. But you're playing to the crowd you're at. When you do this at a house show, it works. When you do it for a nationally televised, world televised show, not so much. And I just think they're wasting Damien Sandow's character so bad. Leads to Big Show coming out, knocking him out, and breaking the portable basketball court they had. I don't know. Just a frustrating thing for a wrestler I know could do a lot better. Next up, we have the segment with Stephanie McMahon talking about at Money in the Bank, either Daniel Bryan's going to defend the belt against Kane, or if not, the belt's going to be up in the Money in the Bank match. Which brings out John Cena, because for the second night in a row, Daniel Bryan needs somebody else to fight his fights. Cena goes back and forth with Stephanie. Stephanie orders Cena versus Kane. Kane gets disqualified when he refuses to stop hitting Cena in the ropes. To me, it's kind of like they're injecting Cena back into the main event, almost like they have bad news on Daniel Bryan and how long he's going to be out, so they're going to easily shift the focus to John Cena right now. Not that I mind that, not that I don't think that John Cena is a good standard bearer. To me, it was just, I understand he needed somewhere else to go. I kind of like to see them let Daniel Bryan fight his own fights. Now, next up, we had Los Matadores versus Drew McIntyre and Heath Slater of 3MB. This feud is so stupid. I am so sick and tired of it. I don't care about the afro and hornswoggle. I don't care about the crappy haircut. It's gone way past the point of expiration. At this point, it's like drinking a gallon of milk that expired 4 months ago. It just makes me sick to my stomach. Next up, and that's how sick of it I don't even really want to talk about it. Next up, we have Nikki Bella being punished for wishing her sister Brie was there, going up against Oksana and Alicia Fox. Great concept, great idea, piss poor execution. You want to sell that she's really being punished, you don't do it in a 3-minute squash match. You do it where they beat her down for a while, that they torture her. Now, I understand there was some attacking after the match, but to me it's a handicap match just for the sake of a handicap match. Could have been filled with something better from the Divas division. This itself could have been better. Like I said, they would have gave this 10 minutes, seen Nikki actually get beat up to the point where it was actually a beating instead of she just lost a quick match. That might have been a better a better ends to the means, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But I don't know, just to me it was unimpressive. Speaking of unimpressive, we had the medal ceremony for Rusev. This thing dragged on, had no point. No one came out and interrupted it. They tried to go with cheap heat with Putin and Edward Snowden, trying to be topical. Once again, WWE, I don't know what they were thinking with this. This could have been an easy way. Maybe Big E comes out, maybe somebody else comes out representing America. But I don't know. It just, to me, it was just bad. And I'm pretty upset that they let the full Russian national anthem go, where Nikolai Volkov never got to sing it all the way through. Just saying. If Nikolai can't sing the whole thing, they should never play the whole thing. In my opinion. Coming off of that, we're going to go into our question of the week. Last week we asked, there's rumors of 4 major indie and world talents coming into the WWE. Kevin Steen, Prince Devitt, Willie Mack, and Kenta. I asked, who do you think is going to make the biggest impact? We got some answers from our friends before I go into mine. First is our friend Dizzlepup. We don't get indie wrestling coverage in my part of the world, but it would be cool to see how they go about integrating someone in. Alright, fair enough. Basically, Kenta is from Japan. I'll give you short explanations. Prince Devitt's from Ireland, but mainly has wrestled in Japan and England and Ireland and all that. Kevin Steen is from Ring of Honor, which is basically the third company in the United States behind TNA and WWE. And Willie Mack is a mainstay of the West Coast independents in America, basically the California area and that area around there. Pro Wrestling Guerrilla he wrestles for a lot. So basically all 4 of them are at the top of their respective promotions. So 4 guys that actually can go and make an impact. That's why I made the question. Just a little bit of a back for you. You can read up on Wikipedia or whatever. Look them up on YouTube, because obviously if you're watching this, you look at YouTube. Check them out. They're actually really, all 4 of them are awesome. Next up is our friend at AUP116 from Twitter. Not familiar with this, guys, but a person I'd like to see come to WWE is Alex Shelley. Everybody would. I think the Motor City Machine Guns in WWE would be tremendous. I think Alex Shelley himself, Alex Shelley and his tag team partner Naoya Kushida, the Time Splitters from New Japan, would be awesome as well. Alex Shelley's just a hell of a talent. I definitely agree. But going back into the initial question, my opinion is going to be Kevin Steen. I'm a huge Kevin Steen fan. I think he's bringing something different to the table. He has a different look, a different style, different promo style. He's somebody that everybody seems to rally around. I think you'd see big things from him in the WWE ring. Now, coming off of that, we're going to go to the question of the week for this week. We all know that Money in the Bank is the next pay-per-view or special event, or however they want to say it now. Who would you like to see win the Money in the Bank? Either the briefcase or the belt? Not necessarily who do you think is going to win. Who would you like to see win? Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. Put it down where? Down there in the comments. And while you're doing that, hit the like button over there. Boost us up a little bit. Give us some more likes. Coming off of that, we're going to go into the good segments of the night. It's the stuff I actually liked. The opening segment with Evolution, which leads to Dave Bautista leaving, which everybody pretty much knew because he has to go promote Guardians of the Galaxy. I liked it. I liked the Dave reaction. This has been a very lackluster run for him. He could be something when he comes back. I think they're going to build it. They build it good for when he comes back. Having a feud with Orton, having a feud with Triple H, having a feud with the Authority, which is what sets up now. Also sets up for everything later, where Triple H says, We haven't lost the fight to the Shield. We've just begun. We just begun, and it ain't over till he says it's over. So we'll tie that in later, and I'll get to that, and everybody knows. You probably all already know when I get to that what I'm going to be talking about. Next up, we had Sheamus and Rob Van Dam versus Bad News Barrett and Cesaro. Your standard, let's start two feuds together, heel match. Cesaro further planting himself as a heel by walking away from his partner, costing the team to win. Sheamus and Rob Van Dam pick it up. I like this because Cesaro is starting to get more and more popular. It's kind of like they're kind of pulling him back a bit, letting keeping him on the heel side a little bit longer. His interaction with Sheamus in the match was absolutely awesome. I really am looking forward to seeing them going with each other. Maybe at Money in the Bank, maybe they'll be in the Money in the Bank match, or even just the singles match. But I think they're going to put a good, great, hard-hitting feud together. And it's something I haven't said about Sheamus a lot, is I'm looking forward to a feud that he's in. Now next up, we had Kofi Kingston versus Bo Dallas. This time they let him go as opposed to the pay-per-view. Bo Dallas picks up the big win. Hits kind of a botched bulldog at the end, but we'll let it go because his promo skills and his talking while he was in the match. At one point, he hits a move. Kofi's down, and he looks at the crowd and says, "I'm winning." I'm buying into it. I'm a Bo Lever. I think he's going to go far. I think the guy's got a ton of talent. Next up, we had another new guy making his debut match. Weird that they kept this off the pay-per-view, but he kind of got a lukewarm response. He got his best response as of yet on the main roster when we had Jack Swagger versus Adam Rose. The crowd's actually starting to chant more and more with the song, chant more for him. We got to see a little bit of what his character is going to be. For those of us that watch NXT, we already kind of know what they're going with him. I liked it. I thought it was great. I liked the fact that Rose picked up the win. Big win for your debut match, beating a former world champion. No matter how far he slipped down the roster, they will play that up, and they did when he did win. So I think this is great. I see big things for Adam Rose as well. A lot of great young talent influxing into the WWE. I guess if that's a statement, influxing. I don't know. I might have just made up a word, but who knows? If I did, please put me on Urban Dictionary as the first person that brought it up. So anyway, I digress. I didn't make that one up. Someone else did. Good match, good debut. Left enough meat on the table for a return match with Swagger. I enjoyed it. Next up, we had Luke Harper and Eric Rowan versus the Usos. Before the match, we get to see Luke Harper as the mouthpiece for the team, with Bray Wyatt not being there, selling what happened at the pay-per-view. We got to see that when the Wyatt family eventually splits, which we all know all good things come to an end. Again, foreshadowing something I'm going to talk about later. We've seen that Luke Harper will be able to go out on his own and be an effective promo guy, be a guy that can effectively sell a feud, sell a match, as he did here. I thought he did great. I thought the tag team match was awesome. The brutality of the Wyatt family against the athleticism of the Usos, great dichotomy of different skills, meshes well, makes a good match, makes it interesting, makes it fun, all the way around in my opinion. Next up, we had Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler. The winner goes into the Money in the Bank match for the first qualifying match for that. Del Rio picks up the win kind of surprisingly. They've kind of been pushing him down a bit in the past few weeks and months. I really don't know what Ziggler's done that he keeps sliding further and further down the card. We're a little bit over a year removed from him being a world champion and being one of the hottest acts in the company to now where he's losing a first round match in in a tournament, or I guess a qualifying match for Money in the Bank. It's, I don't know. The guy's got a great talent. He could be a great upper mid card wrestler sometimes, main eventer. I hate to quote Stephanie McMahon, but he's definitely a great B plus player that with some more seasoning and some more backing of the people in the back could be an A plus player. And I just think they're missing the boat on him. Del Rio, from the time Del Rio steps in the ropes to the time he leaves the ropes, he's one of the best wrestlers in the company. I absolutely love his in-ring work. His promo skills, not as great. His in-ring, he's one of the best they got. I thoroughly enjoy his style. So I didn't mind so much he won. Just a little baffled by Ziggler losing. But all in all, it was a good match. These two always have good matches with each other. I don't think either of the two can really have a bad match with anybody. Last but not least, the main event of the night was set to be Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton. We get the Shield come out, cut a promo about them winning, a kind of a response to the Evolution promo. We have Hunter and Randy come out. Triple H is holding the sledgehammer as an equalizer. Seth Rollins goes and gets a chair, kind of to even up the odds. They go to the Shield goes to attack. Seth Rollins doesn't step up with Reigns and Ambrose and whacks Reigns in the back. Thus, either with Rollins is leaving the Shield and the Shield's going to disband altogether, Rollins is going to go to Evolution. Either way you look at it, it was a shocking moment. One of the true shockers in a very long time. WWE every now and again does something like this that reminds you that anything can happen in WWE. Their old catchphrase that they love to say. Much like, and it's nowhere near on the level of it, I understand, for the historical statement, but much like The Undertaker losing at WrestleMania, this was a shocking moment that none of the fans expected. Out of the three wrestlers in the Shield, Seth Rollins was the one that was the most natural babyface. Also, he was the one that I would least expect to turn on them. Roman Reigns was the best fit to become part of Evolution, if that's what Rollins has done. They didn't say if he has been or not, and they didn't say if it's broken up the Shield or not. So he could have just been paid off and he goes a different way, or he could be the third member of Evolution now, while Shield either brings in a new member or teams up with somebody else. It leaves a lot of stuff open. There's so much storylines that they could go, so many directions they could go. And I love when they do that. I love when they leave it to where you start thinking in your head, okay, what's going to happen next? Is this going to be Evolution? Is the Shield going to recruit? Is the Shield done? Is who's going to chase after Seth Rollins? Is he going to fight against Reigns? Is he going to go against Ambrose? You got so many questions, so many directions they can go, which is always refreshing and exciting when you tune in and you know you're going to see the same crap over and over again, like Los Matadors and a 3MB's feud. When you get something refreshing and something that reminds you why you're a fan in the first place, something like this is really a palate cleanser. A lot of people, I've seen it go both ways. A lot of people are excited for Rollins turning heel. Some people are upset. Some people thought they broke up the Shield too quickly. I'm on the side of, I think they had some more life. They could have kept Shield together a little longer. However, the longer you keep the Shield together, the more you run the risk of them becoming the Freebirds. Now, nothing against the Freebirds. They should be in the Hall of Fame, one of the great teams of all time. But if you look back, the three members of the Freebirds all had enough talent that they could have been individual world champions. Michael P.S. Hayes, great in-ring talent, great talker. He should have been a world champion. Terry Bam Bam Gordy, the muscle of the group, should have been a world champion. Buddy Roberts, the technician, the guy that can pretty much go with anybody in the world, should have been a world champion. That's the point I'm getting. That's what I'm looking at here. Now, there are legends. Don't get me wrong. Freebirds are legendary. Great team. One of the great teams of all time. One of the great groups of all time. Whatever you want to call them. I thought breaking these guys up, I'd rather see a group get broken up early before it's painfully obvious that they need to be broken up. And they still have enough where once they go out individually, when you look back 10, 15 years from now and you think of Seth Rollins' career, Roman Reigns' career, Dean Ambrose's career, you're going to remember they started in the Shield, but you're going to remember more what they did after the Shield. And this is going to set up three guys that all three I think can legitimately be main event talents. All three of them I think are future world champions. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a fitting ending to the show. Now, with all that said, I'm going to do the ratings a little bit different this week. I'm going to do it two ways. The last segment I'm going to rate by itself. The rest of the show I'm going to rate. Now, going first with the rest of the show, we have, if you've seen our show before, we have a 1 to 5 scale. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. 1's a Great Khali, 2's a Santino Marella, 3's a Cody Rhodes, 4's a Cesaro, 5's a Daniel Bryan. I'm giving the rest of the show a 2. A Santino Marella. There's a lot of bad stuff that happened on the show, and I know when history looks back on this episode, it's going to be the show that Rollins turns heel. I know that's why I'm splitting it from it. The rest of the show, pretty subpar. Few good matches. Nothing really standing out. The tag match between the Wyatts and Usos being one of the standouts. The Adam Rose and Bo Dallas looking strong with relatively new characters stands out good. However, the Divas Handicap match, the Los Matadors vs. 3MB, Sandow as Lance Stevenson, all terrible things. Rusev's medal ceremony, terrible. So all in all, I give the rest of the show a 2. The last segment itself, Seth Rollins turning, I give that. Now, I brought this out a couple times. There are sometimes when something's so good it breaks the scale. When we do that, we call that a Shawn Michaels. I give it a Shawn Michaels. It's so far above a 5 that it doesn't even deserve a number. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was one of the best endings of Monday Night Raw I've seen in a very long time. But basically, that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been an episode of Heel Heat.